Boys and girls, how many reverb plugins do you own? Probably too many. Too many already. I get it. And they all sound beautiful. They all sound great these days, right? But you know what? They also sound boring. Today, I'm here to announce the release of the most evil sounding reverb plugin ever. I went to a dark and creepy place to capture its atmosphere, to capture its reverb. I went to an abandoned public swimming pool, a huge place with a long history, and I teamed up with Aurora DSP to turn that into a plugin. How cool is that? And this is a plugin with attitude. It can sound like this, but it can also sound like this. So boys and girls, it's time to have some dirty fun with this little tool. It's time to say hello to the rotten pool verb. That was such a fun project, believe me. So before I will walk you through the plugin and show you what it can do, let me tell you something about the history, how this plugin was created. If you don't want to see this, check out the chapters below. You can skip to the plugin directly, but the story is kind of cool, so you might want to stay tuned. So I heard about this swimming pool, huge place, big public swimming pool that had been built decades ago. And this swimming pool had to be shut down from one day to another. And believe me, when I got in there, you could open the drawers and you could see that they just left from one day to another. And I could visit that place 10 years, roughly 10 years after it was closed. But when I saw it, I was like, damn, this is such a huge place, and a swimming pool without water, a tiled swimming pool, wood everywhere, glass everywhere. This must sound amazing. And it looked so creepy. So I was like, I want to capture the sound of that place. So I went to the city of Funkstadt, and I was totally expecting them to say no. Why should they let me in there? I was expecting them to tell me like, hey, this is way too dangerous. You could fall into the pool and break your legs. There's no power there. There's no electricity. So a lot of the rooms are dark. It was kind of dangerous, you know? So why should they let a metal producer in there to capture the reverb? But you know what? The city of Funkstadt said yes. And I gotta say thank you one more time. Dankeschön. So they let me in. I had to sign that it's on my own risk. Before that, they told me, hey, this is last minute because we're gonna take the whole place down. The bulldozers are about to arrive in 2 or 3 weeks, and then this place will be gone. By the way, I was there last week. Now it looks like this. So that place is no more. So that was the moment when I felt like I gotta capture this for the future. I have to capture that room. I want to make it immortal. It will be gone soon. It sounds great. I want to capture that atmosphere, and I want people like you to put your music, to put your tracks into that pool. So what we did was this. It was me and my 2 assistants, Daniel and Julian. We packed a lot of gear into my car, starting with the biggest studio monitor that I own. The SC3012 from Eve Audio, big ass studio monitor. Put that into the car because I wanted to capture the entire frequency range of that place. And we also packed a lot of recording gear, and we packed our cameras, and we packed my favorite kick drum, my favorite snare drum, and my favorite toms. And we went there. So we did not only create the plugin together with Aurora DSP. I was like, who's stupid enough to do a plugin like that with me? Rotten Pool Verb. I called them, they were like, yeah. So thank you for that. So we got the plugin, but there's also a documentary like showing the entire day, how we set things up, how we explore the plays, how we record the samples, how we record the IRs, blah, blah, blah. So you can get the plugin. There's a link below. There's another link below to the documentary, which includes the plugin, okay? Right now we have the first part of the documentary online, which is about capturing the IRs. And in a few weeks, we will have, it's included, another chapter showing you how to record drum samples. But not only there, also like here in the studio, I show you how I do that. And I talk about how I do my IRs, and it's an interesting documentary. Now, last thing I want to say, if you are a member of Kohle Audio Cult, my academy, you get everything for free. So that's the third option. Get the plugin, get the documentary, including the plugin, or just become a cult member and then you get everything anyway. All right, time to dive into the plugin. Let me show you what the rotten pool verb can do. It's fun. So here we are in Cubase, and I've loaded a little demo song that I've used a few months ago to show you the La Boga Mr. Hector plugin by Aurora DSP. You might remember this. Looks like this. Great plugin, link below. This is the guitar sound, so let's have a listen. And I'm going to use the drums, the programmed drums, to show you what you can do with the rotten pool verb. So right now the drums sound like this. There's no reverb. There are some tune track samples, and I think the snare is one of my samples, but it doesn't really matter. Like standard programmed metal drums. And what I usually do and what I want is a reverb on the entire kit. And I want something that kind of melds with the drum set. So usually I go for Altiverb. You can see it here. But let's load the pool verb. Let me walk you through the main features. On the left side, this section here is our main long reverb. Look at this. Oh, yeah. This is the main reverb. This is a second reverb, a smaller and fatter sounding reverb that can be combined with this one or used separately, doesn't really matter. And at the right, we've got the master section with 2 filters, a dry and wet mix, and the output level. So since we are using this as a send reverb now, we will put this to wet. And here on the left, you can choose between different captures of that room, dark and bright and something in between and far and close. And if I want to have a beautiful sounding pool verb, I usually go for far and dark. And let's start with the full length of the reverb tail, which is I think 7 seconds or something. And let's bring it in. And this is a really, really long reverb. But what I love about it is that it's so subtle, or, it's like, it just melds perfectly with most drum kits. It doesn't sound like an algorithm, like a long algorithm reverb. It just sounds like a big room, and there are no resonances. I think because that room is so huge. Okay, but let's tweak it a little more, make it a little shorter. I usually go for a low cut because that room has a lot of low end, and you don't really need that here. Let's go to whatever, 40 hertz. And maybe a little pre-delay just to separate the dry sound from the reverb a little bit. You could also darken the reverb with this one if you want. Sounds amazing. It sounds beautiful. You can just bring in a lot of it and it will just, I don't know, it will just melt with your drum kit. So I usually go for this one, but sometimes I also use the closed version, which sounds a little fatter. You see, a little more close, a little closer, a little more direct. So the Powerwolf is a great drum room if you ask me. Let's go back to Far. That's my favorite. And maybe bring it back a little bit. And in a minute we will also do the fun stuff like this. Yeah, but right now we just have a nice reverb. But that's just one thing you can do. So let's just leave it on. Let me open up the snare drum group. And here I want to add another instance of Powerwolf as an insert effect. And I want to show you the second reverb section, which we call the meat section. This can be added as a second reverb. And this is a smaller and fatter sounding reverb that we actually captured in the locker rooms of the swimming pool, the same place. Two pretty big rooms once again, you know, with a lot of 50 different cabins, you know, the locker rooms. It was really creepy, but it sounded cool. So we captured it there. And the main intention is just to make things sound a little fatter without adding a huge reverb tail. So let's try this on our snare and let's make our snare sound fatter. So we bring down the main reverb. We don't want it now. And open up the meat here. So you get that extra beef, right? So this is what it sounds like soloed. Inside the locker room. And you can also darken this a little bit if you want. And then just blend it by taste. And you got two flavors. So the smoked is my favorite on snare drums, but you can also try raw. So this is smoked. But this just thickens the snare drum, makes it slightly stereo. It's wonderful. And you can try this on all kinds of sources. And then additionally, you can bring back the main long reverb like this. But we have our reverb already. So that was the second instance of the Powerwolf. Drums sound like this. Now let me show you something more exotic. Let's solo the kick drum. And let's try to thicken the kick drum. We don't want the long tail. And even this might be a little too long, but you can try. But what you could do is you bring back the decay time of the main reverb until you don't really hear a real reverb anymore. And then you go through the different captures. Oh, nice low end. Also nice, maybe a little phasey. Ooh. And you can also play with the pre-delay, like slightly, and just find the right combination where it sounds thick. And to make this effect even better, you can completely remove all the higher frequencies here. And I think I found my favorite. I'm going to take the one in the middle here and delay it. No, not delay it at all. So this is before and after. So what I'm trying to explain here is you can even use like the low end of that room just to make things thicker without adding a real reverb. Isn't that cool? And you see, things still sound tight and still sound metal, but we've added just another dimension, and we've thickened our snare drum and made it a little more stereo and a little more real sounding, if you ask me, and gave the kick a little more low end. Fun stuff. But of course, you can also go crazy because we've added some distortion modes, and that is so much fun. You can distort your reverb, and that just once again adds another dirt dimension to your drums. Just listen to this. I go back to the main reverb. And we even got two distortion modes. So A is more like a low-end rumble, kind of deep and evil sounding distortion. And B is more like a guitar distortion, like a mid-forward distortion. Let's have a listen. If you use this one, you got to use the low-cut filter. And again, this can be combined with any of the room captures. And you know, sometimes like a touch of that dirt just gives the drums like a much deeper space, but it still fits into your mix. It's like an extreme form of room compression, if you ask me. So if we go back to far and dark and just add a touch of this. This just sounds like pulling up another set of room mics, of distorted room mics. And you know what? It never sounds harsh. That's a cool part. So we've created a distortion that will always melt again with your drums. So now let's just bypass this instance, our main reverb, and see what it sounds like. And this is like adding dirty room mics and reverb at once. And this will be very helpful, especially if you record in smaller rooms, if you record your drums in smaller rooms. It's vibey, it's dirty, it's cool, don't you think? And you can define the amount of dirt and the amount of space you want. Welcome to the Rotten Pool Verb. It's dirty fun. Let's just mute that one and solo the snare again, because on single instruments, you can have even more lo-fi fun with this. So this is the instance we used before to make the snare sound thicker. So that's the meat section. Now I also want to add a distorted reverb. Make your snare drum sound dirty again. Double distortion. Anyway, this is just fun, and you can use this distortion anywhere. You can use it on vocals and just have some kind of distorted slapback, or you can use it on synthesizers, you can use it on your drum room mics, you can use them anywhere just to create that over-the-top, super dirty, distorted space. It's fun It's fun, believe me. Okay, so this was my little overview of the Rotten Poolverb. You can create a really lush and beautiful and natural sounding room, especially for your drums. That sounds big, but naturally blends with your acoustic recording or with your programmed drums. It doesn't sound like reverb to my ear. So that's the cool part about this huge room. That's one thing. But you can also go crazy. You can thicken your drums. You can distort your drums. You can create weird spaces. And I'm sure you will have a lot of cool ideas what you can do with this plugin. Is this plugin going to replace any of your existing reverbs? Fuck no, not at all. You know, if you want a lush, nice plaid on your vocals, you know, don't do it with this plugin. It's not going to work. But this is a niche plugin that is great on certain instruments, especially on drums, and will just give your drums and your spaces a little more attitude if you do it right. There's one link below to Aurora DSP where you can buy this plugin. Right now, intro price $19. Or you purchase the documentary where you can watch, I think it's more than 2 hours, where you can watch me going to the pool and be a part of the whole story, the whole creation of this plugin. And in a few weeks, you will also get the second part for free, which includes drum samples recorded at that pool. Okay, that's a little more expensive than just a plugin, but it also includes the plugin, documentary plus plugin. That's the second link. Then there's a third link if you want to become a member of my academy, Kohle Audio Cult, where you can learn how to record, mix, master heavy music, all kinds of heavy music, and get like tons of multi-tracks, tons of courses, a lot of cool stuff, and be part of a great community. You just join the academy, and you also get the plugin and the documentary and tons of other cool stuff. That's all for today. Time to sound a little more rotten. Check out the Poolverb. It's fun. And it was so much fun to create this plugin. I love plugins with a certain history, if you know what I mean. And yeah, this is a tool with attitude. And I'm curious to find out how you are going to use it. Thanks for watching. You will find all the links below. Thanks once again to the city of Funkstadt for letting me into that place. Thanks to Aurora DSP for making the plugin possible. I see you all in hell, motherfuckers. No, the other way around. I see you in hell, motherfuckers. I love you all. Bye-bye.